Today, we're reacting to the awesome Xbox Partner Showcase, dissecting PC Gamer's annual Top 100 games, and investigating a potential Dragon Age issue. Plus, the Pokémon developer got hacked, but what details leaked? Stick around to find out. Now, welcome friends to this week's episode of Good Playing With You, the weekly gaming podcast. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by our Good Playing Good buddies, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matt Molding.
Hey now.
Before we jump into the headlines, let's check in with my affable alliance of Matts and find out what everyone's been playing this week. Lord?
Yeah, good week. Got my hands on Silent Hill 2 Remake, and I recorded about 25 solid minutes of this thing because I want to do a little part-by-part playthrough. I was like, well, at 25 minutes, I should check and just kind of like see how everything's looking. The game looks superb, but my voice just didn't pick up at all. So I'm going to have to redo that. And I have no problem because the beginning of Silent Hill 2 is just such a vibe. And I can already tell they've done some cool stuff, like reworking some of the opening moments from the game. They streamlined it just a little bit. Very impressed with what I saw. The graphics really are pretty out of this world. They look.
What are you playing it on?
I'm playing on PC. So it's looking nice on the machine, gents. It's looking real nice. And I did play a little bit of the new Fortnite season. Checked out the Halloween.
Yeah, Fortnitemares. I've been playing that too.
And I liked what I saw there too. I really thought the addition of the chainsaw was a nice touch.
I have gotten in mini chainsaw battles, and you can ride the chainsaw and then you can axe dudes with it. It's fantastic.
Honestly, that was so fun. I thought the chainsaw edition was so cool. The riding is a vibe, and
for real.
I think they should bring, it might not be a chainsaw, or they could bring the chainsaw back, beyond the Halloween season, but I really like how you control it. It feels really good. And I love how much Halloween content they jammed onto the map. There's pumpkins everywhere. Just, it looks awesome. Like, have you been liking it too, Dan? Like, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I love the mini pass. I'm gonna be playing the crap out of it. I'm
what's
all
the mini
for
pass?
it, especially this weekend.
Just
the objectives and stuff. The seasonal objectives that they give you, and then all the seasonal skins and stuff like that, cosmetics. Like, I'll be doing
nice. Yeah, I've been digging it a ton. I thought it was like really, really cool. So yeah, I was playing with friend of the pod, Andrew, and we got a dub, which was awesome.
I got to jump in with you guys.
I know you really do. It's been really fun. Just
see, Dan, what it's like not being invited to the party. It hurts, doesn't it? It hurts.
I'm used to being the party, Molding, so I don't have to worry about being invited.
Dan, invite me. Come on. There's still an issue with bots, I feel like, in that game. I feel like
they're just pack mules, bro.
I don't understand though. Why is there still bots in that game?
I don't know. Like, they'll go away, but they're easy kills, and then you get their weapons. It's good.
They
stuff.
Are easy kills.
It's so satisfying.
It is.
Yeah,
but like, why are they still there? I thought that was just to make it so like there weren't enough players, or like
no, there's definitely enough players, but like, it's just good for your kills and stuff.
It's good for the kills.
KD, bro.
Yeah, it's KD.
Ego, KD. I'm all about it.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's good for the ego for sure. It's a little stroking of the ego. Good times. Yeah, and that's really been it for me this week.
Nice. How about you, Molding?
So I posted my Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom review, went up,
which is fantastic, and blowing up on YouTube right now.
Blowing up.
Yeah. Thank you. So check that out. So I then, because I was on the Switch, I was like, I will play Pikmin 4. So I started playing Pikmin 4. Super fun, really enjoyable. Very similar. I haven't played a Pikmin game since the first one, and it's basically the same game, to be perfectly honest. It really is, from what I remember. But maybe there are things that are coming up that I don't remember and don't recognize. So that has been fun. And then last night I found out that that Metaphor Refantasio, yes, it had a demo that you can play. So I started playing that. I am 3 hours into it and still playing the free demo. So check that out.
Hopefully your progress carries over.
Yeah,
because
it
if you're
does
putting
carry
that much
over.
time,
I would not have done it if it didn't. Yes.
Dude,
So it does
3
carry
hours
over.
is like a quality demo, I have to say.
And
I
I
don't
have
know
no idea where it ends. I don't know.
Wow.
I mean, if it ends where I think it's going to end, it might be a really long demo. I don't even know. It
love to
is
hear that.
so similar to the Persona games. It's ridiculously like a room that you can save in during a dungeon. Exact same. I can't remember what they're called. The personas, basically very similar.
The
Everything.
Refantasios.
Yeah, everything's the Refantasia.
Okay, but
everything's very similar.
Even though it's very similar to that Persona game, which I'm not a super fan of, but I have a high respect and regard for, does it feel goaty at all? What are your thoughts early?
Great question.
I mean, again, only 3 hours into it. What I'm loving about it is it's a brand new world. It's not in the human world. You're not going to stores. It is high fantasy, which I love me some high fantasy. So it's dealing with, different races of beings, and it's a king that gets assassinated, and you're trying to figure out who assassinated it, and you have a quest, and there's a fairy with you, and it's very high fantasy, which is great. And the cutscenes are all very cool looking, and so we'll see. I'm going to put a little bit more time into it, see if I like it, and then make the purchase if I decide. But the highlight so far of my week, other than that Legend of Zelda review going live, is the Overwatch 2 new mode for Halloween. Junkrat's Laboratory is incredible. It is the most fun I have had with Overwatch in years.
They didn't do Junkenstein's Revenge again this year?
So you know what? I have to go back and look because I've been doing this laboratory thing the entire time. It might still be there. I just haven't looked to see if it's up there. But what they did is, it's pretty famously well known that Overwatch 2 was going to have this kind of single player choose your, not adventure. I was going to say choose your own adventure, choose your kind of like stats and your powers. And it's kind of going to be like a single player-esque sort of thing. They took the pieces of that and put it into this mode, and it's incredible. So each round you get to choose your loadout, basically, of how you adjust your character's powers. And then you play through a round, win or lose. The next round, you get to choose another power and another power through the third round. And if there's a fourth round, you get to choose a fourth power. And they range from kind of a weak thing to super, super strong. Like so far, my favorite is Orisa with her javelin spin. Usually just protects her when she gets attacked. But now there's a reflect to it, so you reflect all of the damage that's being sent to you, kind of like Genji's reflect. There's just some really super fun power adjustments, and me and the boys have been absolutely loving it this week. So definitely check out
which level is it on, Malding?
So there's a few different ones. I'm terrible with names. Oasis is one of them.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, I can't remember all of them, all of the names. Ilios is one. And there's only a few characters. Maybe there's 3 tanks, 4 or 5 DPS, and 4 or 5 healers that you can choose from that have the adjustments on it. But my God, It's so much fun. It's, like I said, the most fun I've had in Overwatch in a very long time. So check that out if you get a chance.
Nice.
What about you, Dan? What have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of Alan Wake. It's just kind of that spooky vibe sort of thing, and it definitely is giving me kind of a Silent Hill feel to it. It's absolutely gorgeous, but again, I'm still running into the same problem of, it's just not enough action for me, and it's very high concept, and they keep trying to repeat the premise over and over because they know it's confusing, and they're not adding a lot of details. And then there's this whole part called the Mind Palace that takes you out of the game where you sort through the facts of the game, and you literally have to pin things on a board, which theoretically sounds kind of interesting, but it becomes super tedious, and you have to sometimes do it to unlock other parts of the game. They could have gotten rid of the whole Mind Palace for me. I did eventually look at the reviews. I should have probably done that before I bought it, but I mean, I knew I was going to like it anyway. But a lot of people seem to agree. It just needs more action. It's a little too much story, a little too much like item gathering and that sort of stuff. And it is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm halfway through, and I am enjoying my time more thanks to Ross, who a friend of the pod, who forced me to continue to play it. So he was right. It's definitely worth it. Yeah, thank you, Ross. I'm having a better time now that it has picked up and then I've gotten past the intro. But yeah, just lots of that pretty much.
Okay,
And
have you? Okay, but what have you played the part where he's like dancing in a
I'm
talk
at
show?
that part right now. So the story takes place in two characters, Saga, this girl, and Alan Wake, and you can bounce between the characters, but I've gotten kind of lazy because I don't want to learn all of the controls and everything for both characters and have to relearn the other one for the other control. So I've just been playing the girl's storyline the whole way through, and I'm at the end of her storyline, so then I'll jump into his storyline, but I stopped it right at his dance.
Yeah, so that was obviously like the big thing. That was honestly, I hate to say it, but sort of the turnoff for me, because I was like, this is like not it for me.
It's
I just
definitely
don't like it.
weirdo Twin Peaks sort of vibes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's what
maybe
they're
that's
going
what it
for.
is.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
They love
if
that
that's what
weirdness.
they're going for, hey, respect.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that's pretty much everything that I've been playing. I mean, other stuff too, but I really want to jump into the headlines of the week. Literally chomping at the bit to talk about this amazing Xbox show. I don't want to bias your opinion because at the end, I will be asking you guys for a score because I want to know what you thought too. And feel free to, say whatever you want. I'll only berate you a little bit.
I only say what I want all the time, so you don't need to worry about that.
That is too
And
true.
we love you for that, Malding.
Some of us do. Okay, so the first game that we want to talk about, speaking of Alan Wake, was the DLC, the Lakehouse. I think it looked great. I haven't finished the game, so I'm not really interested in it. Do you guys want to talk about this, or can we move on?
I didn't even pay attention to it.
I just was hoping it was Control 2 every time I've seen it. I'm just like, let's just get a Control 2. Like,
we've got some semi-control things to talk about a little bit later, so
Yeah,
I know I'm excited for it too.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so speaking of Silent Hill 2, I was blown away with our second entry, Chronos: The New Dawn, by the Blooper team. Not only did they just release Silent Hill 2, but then they wowed us with this trailer. It gave me vibes of kind of like Silent Hill, but then also more like a Dead Space because it was a spaceman, maybe not quite on Earth, very horror. And then it's got this guy, very cerebral, in a spacesuit playing chess with this woman. And then she totally wins the chess game and he murders her. So I'm like, okay, this is weird AF. It's not fair, which is like life. I could be kind of into it. What'd you guys think?
I liked it. I thought it was really cool. And yeah, kind of Returnal-ish a little bit vibes with the suit and little camera like thing on the shoulder. It looked great. I thought the space suit that they had was like kind of spooky-ish, like Juggernaut look. I just had a cool vibe about it, so I'm really excited. And they tried to give us a little bit of gameplay at the very end.
Yeah,
it was a very brief snippet, but
they knew what Molding was going to complain about, so they showed a little bit.
I needed that gameplay. I needed it because I was waiting for it. I'm like, this is great. It looks cool. I actually thought it was, at first I thought it was a BioShock. Because that guy kind of looked like a Big Daddy, and I was like, "Is this a BioShock game?" And then of course no, but that's what caught my attention right off the bat. But thankfully, gameplay was involved. I don't know. It was not my favorite thing I saw, but it did look cool.
It got me pretty hyped. I'm not gonna lie. Like the way the gun was kind of folding up into their hand, and kind of like spider tendril-y things were coming out of the hand. I thought there was a lot of cool little gadgets and gizmos that were going on in the look at the game that was like getting me hooked. I was like, okay, I like all this stuff.
I was kind of like, cheering Team Blooper on because Blooper kind of stumbled with the medium. It looked fantastic, but the combat wasn't there. It was a lot of puzzle based. And then it sounds like they're doing pretty well with Silent Hill 2. And then, bam, they announced this game, which is due out in 2025. So just next year. They're kind of on a roll if they can, land the dismount here. How is the combat in Silent Hill 2? Is it okay?
To be honest, I'm at the very first encounter, and that was where I stopped because I was like, okay, I needed to like make sure everything's going well. So I haven't gone in to start like whipping any ass yet.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, just other gameplay, it looks like pretty solid. Like,
because
and
the
it
original
feels
was a
really-
little iffy. It was a little
Oh,
iffy.
100%. That's why, and just from like
Love
just
it, but
taking a
iffy.
step back as well, like the way the game controls now is very modernized and very
Good.
much over the shoulder kind of action. So I can already tell that there's going to be vast improvements to the game, the combat.
Right on. All right, continuing on with the show, though, the next game that surprised us was the shadow drop of Blindfire. Now, this was an arena-based shooter with the gimmick being that it's in the dark and then some things light up and you're trying to shoot each other. And then, like I said, it shadow dropped today. So that was a huge surprise. I wasn't exactly sure what to expect until I get my hands on this one. What did you guys think?
Cyberpunk, that's immediately what I thought. So this looks like a cyberpunk game and had that kind of vibe to it for me. It's not a game that I'll probably pick up, but it was I think it's early access, right? I don't think it was a full drop. I think it was just early access.
Right.
But yeah, no, it looked fine to me.
Yeah.
Just meh.
Definitely a lot of neon. Neon was cool.
Yeah. First impression when they kicked it off, I thought it was Perfect Dark. I was like, oh, they're showing off a little Perfect Dark, maybe. And then I was like, huh, man, no, it's not. It's kind of like he's walking around now, and we got these people kind of popping out of the woodwork. It reminded me of going to like laser tag back in the day. So
it totally looked like a laser
Absolutely.
tag. Yes.
Yeah, I'm totally down. I thought it was cool. Like when I saw it, I was like, oh, maybe I'll check out the early access, see if it's worth picking up. I can report back.
Yeah, definitely. Please do. Next up, actually surprised even me. I'm a huge fan of the Yakuza series, and this spinoff, Like a Dragon, I wanted to get into before when it was more of like the turn-based, but that one was a little bit tough. But here they are with Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, an action-based Yakuza game, and it's also got naval combat that blows Sea of Thieves, well, probably Sea of Thieves, but also Skull and Bones. Really what I'm thinking Skull and Bones is, Skull and Bones, you've been in development for how long? And then this game comes in with this crazy fun sort of Yakuza take on pirates in Hawaii. It was wild. It looked really interesting, though. What'd you guys think?
Crazy. It looked crazy. It didn't look very fun to me, but it looked crazy.
Yeah, it looked like they're really taking the Yakuza series to another level of silliness. I couldn't really believe that they were going the pirate route. I could see it happening, and honestly, I bet you this game is going to be like really fun. I can already tell it's going to probably kick ass.
Said.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I really liked the OG Like a Dragon turn-based. I thought that was so fun. I like the combat, like the action combat in the Yakuza series, but I think this is the one that I'm like, this could be silly enough that it just might work. And hopefully this one might drop on Game Pass. Do you guys think?
It was not officially announced. I have the games that are going to Game Pass, and we'll be sure to mention them as we progress. But this one was not one of them at the time of broadcast.
Okay. Well, I'm still pretty stoked. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely a unique game. Can't wait to like hear more about it and check it out. Speaking of unique games, the next one, Mouse PI for Hire. Imagine more of like the Steamboat Willie kind of black and white cartoon, only a first-person shooter with a mouse detective running around a cartoon world. Definitely a unique one that stood out in the show, but what did you guys think?
I mean, is it made by the same people? Oh, sorry, Malding.
No, please go.
Is this the same people who made, what was the other kind of cartoony side scroller that was like really hard?
That's what I thought it looked like too.
Is it? It has to be the
The
same.
teacup where they're on the teacups, or I can't remember what it's called.
Sunflowers and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow,
Oh
I can't
gosh,
believe I can't remember
what
this.
it's called. Super popular. People loved it.
I
Never tried
know.
it. Super
From
hard.
Cuphead.
Cuphead. Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Saucer forehead. Whatever it was.
Very
Yeah.
much. I mean, I thought it looked cool. I mean, a stylistic first person shooter is like totally my speed. So this is something that well, depending kind of on the price tag too, I hate to say, like if it's not coming to
Agreed.
Game Pass, like if it's like $70, I'm kind of out. But if it's like $30 game, this is something that I would be picking up day one.
It was the most unique first person shooter I think I've ever seen since, I don't know. I can't name another one that surprised me as much as this, the look of it, but it depends how the game plays. Like it could look very cool, but if it's just plays like everything else, like that's what I need to take a look at.
Good point.
Yeah, it looked pretty fluid from what I saw. I thought I saw him like whipping things and swinging and also shooting people in the face, are two things I'm a real fan of. My only concern here is the black and white a gimmick, and will it get old if I'm playing this game for hours on a stretch? I just don't know that the longevity is on this one. After the wow factor and the uniqueness wears off, are you left with something you're like, wow, I need some color, So,
calling it right now. As you progress, the game becomes colorful, just like that movie.
Ooh.
That would be awesome.
Oh,
and
yeah, like Pleasantville.
Like Pleasantville.
It's a Pleasantville first-person shooter.
Yes,
I'm in with that. I mean, that you know what? Now you've ruined the game for me. If it is not that, you've ruined the game for me. And I cannot play it because your idea is so much better than what I saw.
Yeah, it should be. And I hope that's what they do. So
I do hope
heard it first.
Speaking of hopes and dreams for games, Subnautica, I don't know if you guys tried the initial one, but anyone who played that game was like, wow, this is fun. This is unique. I love the survival thing. Sure wish it was co-op. And then bam, Subnautica 2 is announced today in the show. Looks absolutely fantastic and features 4-player co-op. Not only that, it's coming to Game Pass, gentlemen, meaning that we can survive underwater together if we so choose to.
Fun.
If some of us want to work together, Molding,
I mean, sometimes you got to go swim and take care of a shark by yourself. Like that's just what I got to do sometimes.
So personally, I had a hard time getting into Subnautica 1 because I wanted that companionship. It was lonely. It was kind of like one of those games where it's like, I don't know, it doesn't explain anything. I'm not going to go, Google something and look it up. But I had enough respect for the game to really want to play it with a friend. And now it seems like the developers have heard the audience. They've granted that wish. The fact that it's coming out on Game Pass day one, I am in and I'm super pumped. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I didn't play the first one. That's my biggest problem here. I just heard kind of the same sentiments you just said about being a little bit isolated, and everybody was saying to play it on the Switch for some reason. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to play it on the Switch. I'm just not. And so I think, a co-op with all of us could be really fun and on Game Pass. So, wow, I'm actually a little bit stoked. So yeah, I'll be picking this one up. No doubt.
Moldy?
Didn't play the first one, but you calling it isolated makes me want to play it now. So now I'm like, yes, I can be alone and just play by myself. Thank you. So maybe I'll check it out.
It's really good. You crash down the ocean. You have no resources. You have to go underwater and kind of find your stuff. And I didn't know these berries had oxygen in them, so I ended up dying right off the bat. But I'm like, come on, game, you can be a little nicer. But I got the idea of where the game was going. Definitely excited for it, and it's going to be really cool.
Sweet. Heck yeah.
Agreed. Now, speaking of really cool, there's the hipsters all really loved this game called Animal Well and talked a lot about it. Apparently, it's got a lot of hype. It's like almost like a Metroidvania demake, though. It looks very pixelated, yet cool, and it's definitely got the pedigree and the vibe. What did you guys think?
This was the most annoying game trailer I have ever seen in my life. It annoyed me to no end. I hated it, and it makes me never want to try that game ever. I hated it.
Well, that's funny that you say that, Malding, because there are like all the goofballs out in the podcast world, like seriously loved this game. Like I will say, like they've said it, and kind of a little bit of a backstory on the Animal Well scene. The the Donkey, like the YouTube guy
No.
Donkey. It's his production company who made it. So Donkey, it's like Video Donkey or maybe just Donkey, and he usually just does like troll reviews for certain games. Kind of.
I'd like to donkey this game in the river. That's what I'd like to do.
And I mean, that's kind of like, I don't know. And that's, I think, where it got some of its praise from is just like, it was like their first game and they just came out and dropped this, like,
It was definitely hyped a lot. Like
It
people were
was hyped.
freaking out over it, and I'm like, "Why are you cheesing about it? I don't see quite what's."
Yeah.
For me, it's like the graphics aren't good enough. I'm gonna fully put. I'm shallow. I'm a graphic snob. Your game has to be gorgeous for me to play it, and this one isn't.
Wait, this one isn't Game Pass either?
No.
Okay, see. All right, then it really doesn't make any difference to me, but now, because I would play it probably, a lot of people said the Steam Deck was the way to play this, and so now I don't know. I'm just like, whatever, another Metroidvania that I could potentially pick up some other time.
Yeah, agreed. I'll pick it up when it's on sale or something. Moving on to Eden Zero. Now, this is a Japanese, was it like RPG kind of? Molding, help me out on describing this one to our audio listeners about what this game was and what it looked like.
Well, I can't help you out very much because all I wrote was Japanese. So you've already explained it as much as I can. And because we're about to hit, I know I've been very negative about this first group of games because we're about to hit the games that I was super excited for. But that one, for some reason, I just wrote Japanese. I can't remember what it looked like. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't help there.
That's what I took away too. And to be honest, when I saw it, I just was skipping around, and I was like, yeah, this one generic, looks like a little JRPG. Yeah, whatever. We'll go to the next
generic
one.
too, so I thought I'd be
Yeah.
able to hand
No,
that one off to you.
Nope, fail.
Yeah.
All right, all
Yep.
three of us nailed that one.
We definitely did. But hey, that's the reality of it. That's reality.
Moving on is Eternal Strands. Now, this one is actually, before you ask, Lord, coming day one to Game Pass. And if I had to describe this one, it's got more of a cartoony vibe. And to be honest with you, it looked like Phoenix Rising mixed with some sort of like, I don't know, it just really looked like Phoenix Rising with elemental powers on it. What did you guys think?
This was the first one that I got super excited for. So throughout this whole thing, I'm like, well, meh. And then this came along and I even wrote, yes, an exclamation point. And I was like, magic, etc. Like you could use fire and ice, and it looks like the environment was really malleable, that you could throw things at the enemies, and there was a lot of choice. I love choice in a game of how to do things, how to fight monsters, how to like do whatever you want to in the world. There was like a big jumping mechanic. There was a lot of fun things. And I was like, Game Pass, an exclamation points. Yes, I was. I think this one looks really fun, and I'm super excited for it. And the fact that it's on Game Pass is just great.
Agreed.
I'm going to be honest. I think I skipped ahead too, and then I saw this one still thinking it was Eden Zero, so I kept skipping.
Yeah. I did. It did call. I felt a little Monster Hunter vibe from it. Okay. A little bit with the big monsters. You were fighting.
That's fair.
Fighting right below them, so I felt that vibe a bit. It looked great.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll be honest with you. They showed this one off, I believe, at their summer showcase, and I thought their preview on it there was much better than what we saw today. Today, what we saw, I thought was a little lackluster, but I remember it from the previous showcase and the different powers you got and the way you use them. And I remember being much more blown away. So I want to be excited about it. And the fact that it's coming to Game Pass, definitely I'll be playing it and I'm excited about it. Yeah. I just didn't love the way the trailer was showing off. So if you see this trailer, just know that there's better footage out there to be seen. That's my take on this one.
Sweet.
But yeah, definitely want to check it out. The next one is Mistfall Hunter. This one
had me super excited. So at the beginning, there was
Souls-like, right?
Yeah. There was a big cinematic at the beginning, and I'm pretty sure the voiceover was Vesemir from The Witcher. I was like, I clocked that voice right away. I was like, that sounds like Vesemir. They said it's a Souls-like extraction. So I
Right,
know what both
extraction.
of those words mean, but I don't know what it's gonna be like in a game. Super excited. And then
Wait,
what
that
did
is
I have?
so badass. Like,
Yeah,
that is just, it's sinking in with me, and I'm realizing, wait, I need that. That sounds so cool. Like,
it
I
sounds
love that
really cool.
concept. It was the
So
one
when
with
I
like, it
was
started off with the hanging people, right? That was the,
no, that was the
No, we'll get to
Chinese
that.
one near the end.
all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I'm all
This
over the
is it
place.
started out with like
I'm
someone
mute.
on the ground and like a strand being pulled out of someone's head, like it had some,
Oh,
and then there was
yes.
the voiceover, the Vesemir voiceover. But what I thought when I was watching this, it was like the look of it, it looked so polished, so adult, and I was like, this is what Dragon Age, what the new Dragon Age should look like.
Mhm.
This is what I want
Yes.
that to look like. And
Ugh.
if you
Yes.
were to put those two together, you could really see why I've been talking about Dragon Age being the Fortnite-ification of games. That versus that look, this is what I want it to look like. Anyway,
Yeah.
that really stood out to me. Like it just looks so good. Look very
Dang.
good.
I agree.
Well, this sounds awesome. I mean, I really would love to get my hands on a Soulsborne extraction type game. I think that those two concepts, for some reason in my head, just I feel like they would click really well together.
Yeah, no clue.
It
No
sounds
clue
like,
what that looks like.
honestly, to
No idea.
me, it sounds like a nightmare. It sounds like you're
Oh,
going to have a boss battle. You're going to lose. You're going to lose any loot that you've gotten previously. And you're going to be angry, Dan, and you're going to turn it off and go play Fortnite or something. And that's what it sounds like to me. So I'm curious to hear about your thoughts on it. But this sounds like an exercise in frustration and potential, tears for me. So I'm out. But I want you to have a great time. Moving on. Wheel World. Now, this was like a cell shaded bike game, and yes, we can skip over this one because, to be honest with you, with the three of us here, I'm the only one who's going to be playing this one, and the only reason why is it's on Game Pass. It looked like Dungeons of Hinterberg, which I just completed, and I got all 1,000 gamer score points because if you're looking for a nice cell shaded Zelda with a girl from the Swiss Alps, definitely check the Dungeons of Hinterberg out on Game Pass. But I thought it was the same company. It looked like the same vibe. It's got that hipster music. It's got racing. It's got
I
cartoony
wrote
stuff.
down, if hipster was a video game, that's what this would be. Like you're doing the bike and you're changing the look of the bike. Are you going to use red frame or yellow frame? You're going to bike around to hipster music? Like I love hipster music, but that's the vibe I got from it.
Mauling, I'm with you on that one. Definitely hipster game all over. It's like you're on your fixie, you're getting your little backpack on, you're cruising.
You're riding through Silver Lake, you're grabbing your intelligentsia coffee. Like that's totally how I thought.
That's gonna be me, and I'll report back. But yeah,
yes.
that one's a Game Pass one. I mean, I definitely wouldn't buy it, and it's fine. Interesting that they chose that for Game Pass, but whatever. Okay, the next one is 100% in my wheelhouse. It's a game that really became popular, well, back in like 2020 on VR of all places, Phasmophobia. Now, this thing was the first time I actually ever saw a VR game go viral and stream a lot on Twitch. People loved this thing, and apparently it scared the crap out of them. Are you guys familiar with it? And can it make the leap to 2D, or am I going to be the only one on this team going to buy it?
No, I think it can. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, I think there's enough there. Like, because all you're doing is really like you're grabbing your little ghost equipment and going into the house, and you're getting, you're scanning, different things, like trying to detect a ghost, right? I mean, I think there's enough there. Like, I don't think it has to be in VR. I think it'll be great. And if you get to play, it's co-op too, right? You can get 4 people.
Yes.
I think it could be really, it could be a good stream game with all of us couch co-oping or something. That would be really fun.
I agree. I think it was surprising that I hadn't heard of the conversion or this version of it, and it's coming out October 29th, so just in a couple of weeks here. It is not on Game Pass, but yours truly will most likely be checking it out if the reviews are any good.
No comment. Looks scary. Not my thing.
All right, speaking of not my thing, the next game,
Oh,
Legend of Baboo. Now, I have respect because this game looks gorgeous and you get to ride a dog and you're a little kid,
That
but I don't
dog
want
was
to be a little kid.
adorable.
Yeah, exactly. Any game where you can ride a dog, that's pretty good. I've always kind of wanted to ride my dogs, but they're very, very small.
Oh,
And I
poor
don't think they'd
Woodbone.
appreciate it. Yeah, I know. Whoops would not appreciate
No.
it at all. So Legend of Bonobo, it looked very Zelda-esque for me. It's coming out next year, not on Game Pass, but I didn't
Little
click with
kid
me.
protagonist? No way. Right away, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I love dogs, but it just didn't really look like it was registered. What was the game? The Last Guardian is the game I believe I'm trying to like, kind of the Shadow of Colossus-ish type
Yeah.
of game. That was, I feel like, what they were trying to go for here, but it didn't look like there was enough going on for me to just be like, I'm gonna jump at like, I'm chomping at the bit to get my hands on this game. I thought it was just kind of whatever.
Yep, definitely a loser of the show. But moving on was definitely an interesting one that caught a lot of attention. Wuchang Fallen Feathers. Now, this is to be honest with you, and correct me if I'm wrong, when I looked at this one was gorgeous. It reminded me almost if it was Ninja Gaiden, but the female spinoff. So you know how John Wick has a ballerina with Ana de Armas, and we're all kind of chomping at the bit to see that one. This was the same thing for Ninja Gaiden, only with their female protagonist, the same vibe, the same look. It actually even better. It actually looked really, really gorgeous, I thought. And it's coming out on Game Pass. What did you guys think?
Looked beautiful. So, Lord, this is the one that had the guy going through that dude looked super scary too. I loved how
awesome.
he was like touching the legs of all the hanged men, like he was touching like a beaded curtain. It was really, really cool looking. And I'm totally down. She's hot. She looked really cool. It looked like some really cool powers. She had wings at one point. You give a lady wings, like angel wings for me. I'm right there. I want to play it.
And forgive my ignorance here, but is this the same as Wukong?
So it's Wuchang. I think it's pronounced Wuchang.
Wuchang, but is it
And
like
it was
the
something
same
about the it's something
thing?
about
My
the
bad.
Ming dynasty. That's what I caught there at the
Okay,
very
so
beginning.
no association to that
I
game?
don't think so. No.
Okay. That
I
was
think
like
just Chinese history, I think.
got it. Okay. I mean, it looked really cool. Some of the combat that I was seeing with the monsters looked pretty awesome. So I'm thinking this is something that I know it's gonna be like, probably a $70 game.
Game
So
Pass.
It's on Game Pass, brother.
Yeah,
this one's
Game
on
Pass.
Game Pass.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
even ask because I just figured this one there's no shot it's
No.
going on Game Pass. So okay, sweet. This is definitely something that I'll be checking out day one. Then no doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely good looking. All right, wrapping up the show was the surprise of the show, actually, was FBC Firebreak. And this was, FBC stands for Federal Bureau of Control, and this comes from the Remedy verse of Control and Alan Wake. And Firebreak is was it a 3 or 4? It's 3-player co-op game, and it is an online. They said it wasn't going to be live service, but they would be adding to it. And you go in, and it's like PvE, 3 players. You've got really strange and weird powers. Like there was that one gun that would push people, or if you look down, it would make you jump. There was lots of like grenades that were electric. It just had that real Remedyverse vibe, and the graphics were highly reminiscent of Control. What did you guys think about this one?
Yeah, so I thought it looked very interesting, very unique shooter. I'm super down to play it. I kind of got a vibe like maybe these people go in to the offices that happened in that she was in Control and like try to clean up the mess that was made. That's kind of the vibe I got from it.
I love that.
Yeah. There was a game that came out maybe a year ago, Lethal Company, where you kind of go in, you collect. It was like the PC game there. You collect stuff, and it's kind of haunted inside there, and you're just doing all you can just to survive and come away with goods from these places. I'm hoping it's sort of like that because those games kind of have like a comedy element to them too. I got like a bit of a lighter. Like I didn't get that seem like this was like super serious, right? Because I was watching, I was like, this didn't seem
weird. I don't know if it
Yes.
was a funny weird or just weird, just weird.
I couldn't tell. I was like, is this like a yeah, like it was on the fence, and so I think it looked cool. I mean, if it is more, I love a control setting. To be honest, I thought that game has some really cool moments that I'm just like I wouldn't mind recreating some of that, not in the Alan Wake 2 sense, but in the control
Yeah.
sense. And then yeah, so this could be fun. And I mean, but to be honest, when I hear live service, I'm just like I'm so out of max on those
But they
games.
said not a live service, although we'll get updates. But yeah, it's kind of a live
Yeah,
service. But they know that that's not a very
I
popular
know.
term, so they're kind of trying to walk that back a little
I
bit, and they
know.
don't want to raise players' expectations. I think for me, look, Control was pretty good. Alan Wake's been pretty good. Remedy's a great company, and I know people love them, but for me, they just have not nailed the action controls and shooting. They're not the first person I think of when I think of solid, fluid player movement. I sure hope they can up their game a little bit here, because some of these games feel like Red Dead Redemption 2, and how like the locomotion is to get going is a little bit slow. So hopefully they're able to take what they did in Alan Wake 2, which is good, it's serviceable, and make it fun. And it looks like that. There's lots of movement here. There are things jumping around. There are lots of explosions, sparks. There's some rapid jumps, that sort of stuff. So I have hope for this. But even more so, it's on Game Pass, gentlemen. So that means the three of us can play it and have a review for the show when it finally comes out.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm super pumped for that. All right, so that pretty much wraps up everything that was in this Microsoft Partner Game Showcase. If you guys had to put a score on this one, a letter grade, what did you think?
Malden, you go
B
first.
minus is what I say, because there was only a handful that I was really interested in. And lots of surprises, and also I love even though Blindfire is not going to be one of my choices to play, I love a drop on these shows when they say you can play it right now. I love that. I wish they'd
Yeah,
do a lot more of that,
they had one.
because a lot of this, this is a great game to get you really excited about coming out in 2027. Like that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't do anything for
These
me,
were all
even though
2025 and
none
stuff.
these were all 2020. I know, I was
Yeah, or
exaggerating,
24.
but that kind of stuff doesn't, because it's 2025. It's probably November of 2025 is when
Yeah,
a lot of this stuff is probably coming out. So yeah, B minus.
Yeah, I would
Lord.
give it a B. And the reason why first of all, I did like the games that they showed off. I thought they were really impressive and they got me excited. So that's great. And I think their Xbox is actually trying to eat some PlayStation lunch right now, because I really think so. Sony's busy showing off the PlayStation 5 Pro with games that have come out 6 years ago. So we're actually getting fresh games in these showcases.
Yeah.
Incredible. I'm totally there for it. And hey, I'm stoked. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And it was seemingly out of the blue too. So it was like, Dan, you're like, there's a showcase Thursday morning. So I'm like, sweet. So I really thought I was very impressed with surprise showcase, great games, B for me.
You pretty much took all the words right out of my mouth, Lord. I thought the exact same thing. They could have had this showcase with the Tokyo Game Show, but they didn't. And we don't normally get a showcase this time of year. And yes, these games were not Microsoft games. It is them highlighting their partners. And some of these games are coming out on different platforms, yada, yada, yada. Still, I thought it was excellent. I loved it. They clearly worked closely with these people to make them hold their announcements for this game so they could put them all in one show and kind of surprise us. The show itself came out of nowhere and really surprised us. It also gave me another reason to keep Game Pass around, because while it's not getting some of the heavy hitters, it's getting enough of those ones where I'm just like, I kind of like to play that. And, I'm not going to buy it. But hey, if it's on Game Pass, I sure as hell will keep Game Pass around. Microsoft ended up looking good here. They're associating themselves with good games. Game Pass ended up looking good here, justifying itself in its existence. I was a huge fan of this one, and I will go ahead and say A minus. It was a really nice treat to get. and I truly appreciated it. Super pumped about it. Would love to see this light the fire under Sony's ass, because I adore Sony's games, and at some point they need to quit their remastering of all of their crap. I love it, but I already played it, already bought it. I want you to start making new games, Sony. And it's this kind of stuff coming from their competitors that like hopefully gets them going. So two-pronged appreciation here. One, great job on you, Microsoft, and two, let's go, Sony. Let's see what's next.
Those just, you amen to that remake and reboot talk, because I'm just so at a max. I'm at a max on that live service reboots. Like, come on, we can move past that. Let's get some fresh ideas out.
Are you enjoying Silent Hill 2, Lord?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I need a couple more reboots. Actually, no, Silent Hill 2 is good. I will say, like, as long as in this remaster or reboot or remake, I don't know what to call them anymore either. Is like, as long
Cash
as they're
grabs.
these cash grabs, as long as they are done right and they mix things up, I'm not too mad. But yeah, at the same time, I just want new content. So I see new games,
Agreed.
I'm happy.
I agree. Yeah, a new lick of paint is definitely not enough for me. Okay, but we're running tight on time, so I really want to move the show along. The next thing was, Malding, you had brought up PC Gamer's annual top 100 games. And actually, I was surprised by who took number one. So why don't you tell us about this?
Oh my gosh, I'm shocked that you're shocked. So every year around this time, PC Gamer puts out their list of top 100 games. And typically, or the last few years, the game has been at the top, has been the same. So this isn't like the top games that came out this year. This is the top games of all time that they put this list together. So they have some, so the requirements or the qualifications for this are quality. How good is it? A purely personal rating of its caliber as a game, which is 60% of the top 100 score. Importance, how noteworthy is it? Its influence on other games and the wider world, which is 15% of their score. Hotness, how exciting is it? Its ability to retain a lively community that is excited and passionate about it, which is 15% of their score. And playability, how playable is it? Is it accessible to modern audiences, and a measure of how easy it is to get running on modern systems, 10% of the top 100 score. Reading all of that, there's only one game that I can think of that fits every one of those qualifications perfectly, and that is the game that they chose at number one. Which did both of you look at it? Like, am I spoiling it?
Well, plus your gloating face says it enough. So I don't even have to look at it.
I didn't look. Is it Fortnite?
Oh, girl.
No, it probably should have been. Probably should have been.
Are you kidding
I
me?
literally thought that's what you were going to say. I'm like, no surprise, Fortnite.
Oh,
yeah, thank you.
Get out of here. Get out of here, right? I don't even want to see your face. No, it's Baldur's Gate 3. Of course it's number one. My gosh.
That's hilarious.
Of course, you guys haven't even played the best game that has ever been created on this mankind's earth. Yes, so that is the number one game, which Sorry,
no, go ahead and finish.
No, it pushed out to number two. A game
I was about to say. Now, exactly. Now, how reputable is this list? Because now let's talk about the other ones that were in the top 10.
Yeah.
What was number two, Malding?
So number two is a game that I think is one of the worst games I've ever played.
That's what I'm saying.
But other people, that's just my own personal opinion. Other people think this game is, and deservedly, they say it's the best game ever made. And it has been since 2019. They've had this at number one, and that is Disco Elysium. I've talked on the pod before about how much I dislike that game, but people absolutely love it.
So this list is bunk, is what you're saying?
No, not at all. No, that's just one person's lowly opinion. Many people's opinion of Baldur's Gate 3 of being the best game ever made. So starting out at number 10 is 1993's Doom. So that one, I think, got a lot of score from it being so innovative in its time and such a harbinger of future games and really what it did for first-person shooters. That totally makes sense. I don't want to go over each of these games, but a couple of them, but I can never pronounce this name. Balatro, I think is how it's pronounced, which came out this year.
I bought it.
Overhyped? I
It's
haven't
not
tried
as
it. I don't know
good.
it.
You have to find one hand that works for you and then continually play that hand ad
Yeah.
nauseum until the game's finished or whatever. And then you unlock other stuff. And I love a good deck builder and card games and all. It's not even a deck builder, but I love a good card game. Overhyped AF. Ignore it. Delete. Whatever.
Cool.
So
Good to
that
know.
game came in at number 8. Half-Life 2, Matt Lord, that's number 7. The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt is number 6.
stuff.
We all three of us are big fans of that game.
Finally, they're talking some sense here.
Number 5 is Persona 5 Royale. Again, a great game. It really burnt me out. I think, Lord, you said the same thing.
Yeah,
that game came out in 2022. Number 4 is Minecraft, another game that really, was
it's overhyped.
What?
Yeah, it was
kind of influential and legendary.
It is
though.
legendary.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get into it. I've played that game. I've tried to play that game so many times. I'm like, it just doesn't resonate with me for some reason. I'd rather just play with Legos.
One of the few games I do like to play with other people. Like that, it is more fun to play that game with other people. Number 3, Elden Ring. Oh, what's that? Oh my gosh.
I got an Elden Ring situation.
Yes, so number 3 is Elden Ring. Sorry, my computer just did a weird thing. Yes, so that rounded out the top 10.
Wow.
Did you think any of those top 10 were huge misses? You all haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, so you don't even know.
I think that list is a little bit subjective, and I know that they have a huge group of people going into it. And
they do.
Are we talking about the best games of all time here? Because there are some some games out that came out not too long ago. And then I'm also blown away, and I'm personally offended the fact that there's no Mario. As a platformer lover, the fact that you can't find one freaking Mario game, go F yourself. And I guess it is PC, so I gotta
PC,
but there's gotta be like platform. I don't know, maybe there's no good platformers on PC, but it's like, come on, all you PC people steal everything. You might as well give the award to Mario because you've got his ROMs all over your computer, so boom, I take it back. Screw this list.
Yeah, I mean, Animal Well should have been like number 1. I mean, to be honest, when I heard there isn't a Fortnite in there, I hate to say it, but Fortnite is probably the best game that's come out in like
it's damn influential.
Decades. What are you talking about?
I'm not even kidding.
Basic bro, but I gotta back him up. I agree.
Malding, it's painful truth, and I can barely accept it myself. But like truly, when you drop into that game, you realize that this game is here to stay, probably forever, and probably going to be the top dog of battle royales for. I don't even know. Never. Like, I don't think it's ever going to end, Dan. That's the crazy part.
Well,
it is a behemoth. That I'll give it. It is a behemoth.
Yeah, definitely. We got to move on here. Speaking of behemoths, let's talk Pokemon, because it has been a wild week for Game Freak and the whole Pokemon franchise as we know it. So this is an article that comes from Wesley Yinpool at IGN, and it says, Pokemon developer Game Freak reportedly hacked. Stolen data on unannounced games, as well as Nintendo Switch 2's codename, is leaked online. So the original story is Pokemon developer Game Freak has reportedly suffered a significant hack resulting in the leak of stolen data that includes codenames for the 10th generation of Pokemon games, as well as even the Nintendo Switch 2. As reported by Nintendo Life, data leak includes the codename of Nintendo's next-gen console, reportedly Ounce. Let's just stop right there. 1 second. Yeah. Ounce. Like, oh, you're going to get an ounce? Let's go get an ounce. Like, that's not Ounce. Like, Ounce. I mean, that's not the official name, of course, but the code name is Ounce. You know what I mean? Like,
it's very weird. To be honest.
I just think of weed. But anyway, the code name of the unannounced 10th generation of Pokemon games is reportedly Gaia, and the code name to the announced Pokemon Legends Z through A, Ikaku, which means narwhal in Japanese. I actually tried to look that up so that I could pronounce it correctly, and that's where I got the narwhal thing. So even though I just kind of slaughtered it there, just know I have respect. The codenames for the 2 versions of the 10th generation Pokemon game are part of the leak, which may relate to Nintendo's iteration to release for both the Switch and its successor as a cross-gen title. According to Nintendo Life, Ounce is mentioned as one of the 2 targeted platforms. A Pokemon game codenamed Synapse is also reportedly mentioned. This unannounced game is said to be co-developed with another studio, with some reports indicating it's some sort of Pokemon MMO. Elsewhere, source code for the DS titles Pokemon Heart, Gold, Soul Silver, Black 2, White 2 have reportedly leaked, resulting in stolen, unused assets for Pokemon and even game music emerging online. Outside of the games themselves, there's plot information to the actual movie and the Detective Pikachu and how they're two sequels. And I mean, it just goes on and on. And Game Freak did acknowledge this thing. This all leaked over last weekend. Game Freak did acknowledge it, saying that this was due to a server back in August that has already been repaired. Unfortunately for them, some of the employees' data was stolen as well. So that's not the fun part, but the games part, that's the fun part I want to discuss, and the code name for the new Nintendo Switch 2. What do you guys think about all this?
What information did Game Freak not have? They leaked like everything. It's crazy. They had like the whole catalog of Nintendo BS in there. I'm shook. I mean, is there anything actually like really, I mean, I hate to say it, but like really cool that came out of this? Like, but I mean, besides the codename Ounce, kind of interesting, but like any Pokemon lore that would like really be interesting or like worth like looking into more? Like it didn't seem
I mean,
like,
I didn't want to go deep into it for super nerds like yourself,
yeah.
because I know that you love the franchise. But yes, there is definitely more things about like skipped characters that they never used and all that sort of good stuff. They're actually the full editions of the game. I forgot what they're called. The full like build of the game is what leaked. So these are like source codes. That's what it is. The source codes leaked on these sorts of things so that are out there in the wild. So I mean, it's wild. So you can definitely go down a rabbit hole. It just seems unfortunate for them. I think it's wild how often this is happening to game companies, and it's got to be tough, for these game companies, because it's such a secretive industry for them to stay secret when they get these people that are digging into their files, and the amount of stuff that they got. Whew, doggy, that is just crazy. I am excited though, even though the code name is Ounce. What a little lamest. What happened to Revolution? What happened to the Dolphin? And then we get
Dolphin.
Ounce. That's where I'm going with here, people. Ounce. Like it just, for me, it's like
doesn't
whatever.
Not catchy enough for me.
No.
I'd much rather play Pound. I think Pound would be a lot more fun than Ounce personally, but that's okay.
Yep. Taking Pound Town.
Pound down. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, let's just say this. Nintendo is gonna like be hunting down whoever did the leak. It's gonna be, heads are gonna roll eventually.
They're gonna snipe, dude. Some dude's just gonna be walking across the street. It's gonna be Nintendo just sniping him because it.
It's like,
I really hope
crazy.
it isn't the Pal World people who did it.
Oh yeah. Power people just in there. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like, okay, they leaked an MMO type of situation. So maybe they are trying to create a game that's going to compete with Pal World, which is interesting. That is piquing my interest for sure, as long as it's like, done well.
Yeah, could be interesting. Could be good stuff. But speaking of games that sound, I'm sure, are good stuff, but got an interesting rumor going on. Lord, you had this story for Dragon Age.
This is a little bit of a troll topic, but like, I just wanted to put this into, some perspective right now. Dragon Age the Veilguard hasn't broken the top. This is as of recording, by the way, hasn't broken the top 40 top selling games on Steam quite yet. Currently it's sitting at number 41, and right below that, number 42, is Monster Hunter Wilds, which comes out in February, and Dragon Age comes out in 2 weeks. And it's number 27 on wish list charts. Boys, this is a cause for concern, because I am thinking these numbers should be higher. I know it is Steam, it's not console, but this is a humongous game that has been in many, many showcases. It's had a lot of exposure, and it's only hasn't broken top 40 yet. So there's some other games that are sitting at the top where I'm like, what are these games? Like Dragon Age should be, I would think, in top 10 by now, to be honest.
Malding,
I think
thoughts?
you can draw a straight line from that to that very first announced trailer where it looked like a completely different game. And we said this before. I think BioWare has been trying to dig themselves out of that hole that they made with that very first trailer since then. And maybe there's just a bad taste left in in a lot of people's mouths on it, like me, like it did for me. So that could be the case. I haven't pre-ordered it. I'm still on the fence about buying it. I'm probably going to. It's probably the reason I'm not going to buy Metaphor right now is because I'm saving up for that's going to be my game purchase for the month. But yeah, I think that that's the reason in my mind.
Yeah.
For me, I say this is absolutely no reason to, worry. I think, but then that reminds me of the meme where the dog's sitting there and everything's on fire. And he's like,
Yeah, drinking
but
tea.
I think it is, like you said, Lord, this is a little bit of like a troll topic. I don't think there's any problem here. We at the pod, of course, love the game and want it to do well. I think we'd look for any sort of excuse to talk about it. I'm super pumped for it.
Sure.
I do think that, Molding, you're right. I think that first look and the graphics are just a little off, so people might not have thought and to run out and pre-order it. But I also think that October's been a busy month with games and news, and there's been a lot happening. But as soon as we hit October, or at the end of October, Halloween, people are going to wake up. They're going to realize, hey, this is a legendary series. This is a big deal. I think people will really start to talk about this game towards the end of the month. I mean, I hope, since I'm going to be the one who's going to be doing the review for us. So I think it's going to be a huge game. I've already pre-ordered my copy. I'm still super hyped. Yes, I do not love the graphics at all, but the pedigree of BioWare, their storytelling, I'm still super pumped. Nothing to worry about. It's going to be awesome. That's my take.
I think you can also not discount that there is a possibility that gamers are wising up a bit to pre-ordering a game.
That's such a good
games
point.
get put out and they need patch after patch after patch to get into fighting form. And maybe people are just wising up a bit and just waiting to see.
I'm not wising up. I'm the only one who's not wising up.
Is that what you're going to be on release? No, you're very wise. You're very wise. No, just how, maybe just wait a little bit, maybe there's just a little too many red flags on this one to plunk down that $70+ plus tax,
No, and honestly, that's a good thing. We got to be holding back on those pre-orders until we see what's going on with these games. So you know what? Maybe that is a positive movement that we're seeing right now.
It could be. Well, time will tell, and we'll definitely tell as soon as we get our hands on it and we know more about the game. Well, we're pretty much out of time, so that's got to wrap it up for today. Please make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button if you're listening on YouTube. And on behalf of my gaming co-hosts, Matt Maulding, Matt Lord, and myself, Dan Whitehill, thank you for joining us, and good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.